Look at all my social. You know what? Pull up Mike Korzemba, Luka Doncic right now, and literally it says meet the best prospect since LeBron James. Boom.
He called you Captain Hines.
Yeah, but you're also the person that said meet Lonzo Ball, Steph Curry with a 50-inch.
That was you.
So like,
it was 40.
That was you.
All right, Mike. You want to go through your videos? Let's go through your news videos.
No. We're not doing this. We don't have to do this.
Exactly. All right. Exactly. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Laced Up Podcast. This is podcast number 8, guys. We're almost there. We're almost at number 10. Today, we are talking NBA playoffs. We are talking Los Angeles Lakers. We are talking Golden State Warriors. We're talking the downfall of the Miami Heat and the future of players like Steph Curry and Kawhi Leonard. So, Mike, I think we want to throw this to you right away. As the residential Lakers fan of this podcast, how you feeling? And before we continue, we want to talk to you about the giveaway that we are doing. Guys, we have already stated that we are going to be doing the PS5 or Xbox Series X giveaway at 40,000 subscribers. We're almost getting there. You guys are crushing it. Well, we're about halfway there. But on top of that, we want to do a bonus giveaway for Apple Podcast listeners, for people who leave us a 5-star review.
We're going to pick one of those reviews to win $100 each and every week. We're going to announce the winners on our community tab. And this way we can start giving back to you guys as soon as possible. You know, man, I don't know what it is. I went outside today and for some reason everything was black and white. My coffee didn't taste the same. Food doesn't taste the same. I just don't know what it is. You know, was it the fact that Anthony Davis shot 5 of 16 in game 1? Is it the fact that, I don't know, we lost to the Phoenix Suns? I'm kind of concerned here, but then I remember the fact that we lost probably like each and every game 1 in our playoff run to the NBA championship last year, and I'm starting to come around. How are you guys doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for asking. You know, every day the Lakers lose, you know, I feel a little better. So, you know, if we could get some more of those going, you know, I'm gonna be feeling great by the end of the week. But how about you, Korzemba? How you doing right now, man?
Dude, I'm doing good. I'm loving the playoffs so far. I'm loving what I'm seeing. I want to talk some Bucks later on because if you guys remember, I kind of semi-hyped up the Bucks headed into the playoffs. You know, I think I even said maybe around podcast 4 or 5 that I was gonna pick the Bucks to win the Eastern Conference. We never made our official picks. I'm very excited about that. But I'm also excited because tonight we are watching the Los Angeles Lakers and the Los Angeles Clippers both play some very important basketball games. All right. And also, before that, I would like to also say, you know, I took some flack. I took some hate for my Andre Drummond take, where I said he could end up being a negative asset on the floor. He could end up, he just might not fit with the Lakers. It just might not work out. And you know what, Andre Drummond, you might be costing yourself a lot of money. I said all of that. Podcast number 1. You know what? Game one, I'm not going into a huge overreaction, but looking at the stats, and I've got some stats screenshotted right now on my phone because my laptop broke because I've dropped it on the floor 40 times. Anthony Davis plays horrible right now at the 4, and that is something that the Lakers are going to really need to figure out because when he's at the 5, that's when they're at their best. And so I don't know what they do about Andre Drummond. I don't know if how happy he's going to be playing spot minutes basically as Anthony Davis's backup if that's what it comes to.
So I want to say this right now, Lakers fans, obviously, you know, I love the Lakers. I just love the Suns more because I'm a Pelicans fan.
You love the Lakers?
Yeah, the Lakers are cool with me, man. They're cool with me, man. They got our old franchise
guys, Coop
player.
just does not want
LeBron
any
James. I mean, come
Coop
on. I
does
can't
not
hate
want
on
any
LeBron,
hate.
Bro. What'd you say?
You don't want any hate, bro.
No, I've been hyping if you go to my channel,
you
hype
just
the
said,
Lakers so
Coop just
much.
said I'm a fan of the Lakers, the Suns, and the Pelicans in one sentence.
Well, hold on.
The Suns have our head coach. The Suns have our old head coach, Chris Paul, the greatest player in our franchise's existence.
Every single team has a member of the Bulls on it that is playing better than they played on the Bulls. All right, so I don't want to hear it. I'm not a fan of every team.
That's different. Y'all aren't the Pelicans.
Oh my god, we basically have been.
No. What were you gonna say, Flight Mike?
No, yeah, I was about to say you have a legitimate reason to be a Suns fan.
Exactly.
They pretty much have your core from 10 years ago.
Dude,
so it makes a lot of sense.
You know what?
So
you could pull up a tweet from me. I said I was, a Suns fan. Suns were my Western Conference team. I said it about 5 years ago. I quote tweeted it in January of this year. Suns are my Western Conference team, baby. So
I don't know
Suns
about you,
fans, I'm rocking
Mike,
with
but
you.
this feels like a nasty bandwagon attempt. This just
No,
feels like,
bro. Dude,
I mean, bro, Korzemba's been through nothing but pain over the past decade. I'll let him bandwagon. You want to be a Laker fan, Korzemba?
dude, I'm
You're
not.
right.
Dude,
You
I'm
can
a
be
Bulls fan. I'm a Bulls fan till the death of me. But I'm just saying that I did say that if I were rooting for one team in the West, it would be the Suns. I love Devin Booker. I said that 5 years ago, and I've stuck with that take. You can look through my tweets. I've never.
So do you have a tweet like every year hyping Devin Booker and being like, I'm a Suns fan, or was it just 5 years ago? Because I'm pretty sure I have 5 years. I'm pretty sure I have a tweet every year about the title winner. So I just like to claim those two while we're here.
All right. Well, I definitely have a bunch of tweets. We could, you know what? We could pull them up later. I'm positive.
You guys seem like trustworthy people, so I'm just going to take your word for that.
I don't trust Coop. I do not trust him.
What do you mean you don't trust me? What?
Dude, you
What
got,
the heck did I do?
dude, I don't know.
So I did
That
want
mustache
to
is
give
shady.
Okay.
hold on. Hold on. I dig the mustache Coop, but I want to give Korzemba his props because he came in here, very first pod. He roasted the Drummond signing. We all bagged on him. The comment section bagged on him. Hell, I sent my YouTube channel's comment section to bag on him. And he ended up being right. The Lakers are in a bit of a situation here. Yeah, so guys, we are capping off the giveaway to the first 40,000 subscribers that turn on our notifications for the Laced Up podcast. All you have to do to enter for a chance to win a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X is subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you want to do us a favor, leave a like on the pod and let me know in the comment section down below when it's done. You'll enter for a chance to win a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X. So far, there needs to be an adjustment made here. So, of course, Drummond as your starting five against a Phoenix Suns team that has a traditional center at the center position, no bueno, not the move. Anthony Davis clearly doesn't work at the 4 position whenever the key is like clogged up as a result of Andre Drummond and DeAndre Ayton doing their thing. So if you ask me as a Laker fan, the thing I'm looking for tonight is a completely different lineup. Andre Drummond, it's time for you to hit the bench, at least for this series. Your time is going to come. If you want to win a championship, this is the sacrifice you have to make. I want to see Anthony Davis at the 5, Kyle Kuzma potentially at the 4, so he could stretch the floor a little bit.
That big donut from Kyle Kuzma in game 1.
Yeah, 0 of 2 from the
Yeah.
field.
And wait. Who did Mike say he drafted him over? What was it?
Oh, yeah. That was a wild take, Mike. I'm not going to lie to you. Like Mike.
Who did I say I was going to draft him over?
It was what, Colin Sexton? Or
You take him over John Collins.
Oh, John Collins.
Yeah, it was John Collins, bro.
Dude, I don't want to bag on Mike. He just had my back with Andre Drummond.
I kind of want to bag on Mike, but I'm gonna let him slide. I just want to add on that I do agree. I think Korzemba did make some great points about Drummond. I thought we had great points too. One of my points was when we were talking Drummond was that he's gonna have some series that are in his favor. This might not be one of those series. I think Flight Mike is right. I would love to see AD play the 5 a little more. But, I mean, even with Drummond in the game, I know the spacing isn't great. I want to see AD take advantage of Jay Crowder. I know they're sending help from DeAndre Ayton. I know that, again, the spacing's not great. But I don't think Andre Drummond playing is an excuse for Anthony Davis to play as poorly as he did. All in all, I just think AD has to play a more complete game. Even Anthony Davis agrees that, he could play better and he's fully capable of playing with Drummond. So
he said he was horrible. Yeah, he said, you know what?
Yeah.
I always appreciate when guys are like, that loss is on me. Boom. Simple as that. Because he did play horribly. Now, my whole thing with Anthony Davis is I'm not gonna go out and rule out and say that the Andre Drummond Anthony Davis thing can't work out. It's just for some reason Anthony Davis, which actually kind of makes sense because we all know about Anthony Davis's huge growth spurt during high school, so he kind of has a little bit of a guard in a big man mentality. and he doesn't like playing the 5. We've known this forever. Anthony Davis has never liked playing the 5. In order to keep Anthony Davis happy, you basically have to load your roster with centers so that he doesn't play the 5. We've seen Marc Gasol, Andre Drummond, Montrezl Harrell. The Lakers have a bunch of centers so that Anthony Davis doesn't play the 5, which makes no sense because I have numbers right here actually. All right. Makes no sense because as we all know, I don't even really need to say these numbers. Anthony Davis is best at the 5. All right. 2020 regular season, Anthony Davis at the 4. Lakers net rating plus 8.3. Davis at the 5. Lakers net rating plus 15.8. Okay? They literally become championship worthy, championship best team with Anthony Davis at the 5. This year's regular season, all right? Anthony Davis at the 4 plus 4.9 net rating. All right. Anthony Davis at the 5 plus 16.9, even better than last year's postseason. But you know what the problem is? This year during the regular season, Anthony Davis played 10% of his minutes at the center position. 10%. That is a problem. That is something that needs to be fixed in the postseason. And it's something with his mentality, man. I don't know what goes on, but suddenly he starts acting like he's a shooting guard or something. Starts spotting up a lot more, he just doesn't do what makes him an incredible, amazing basketball player. He just stops doing it.
And
well, I think go ahead.
I was just going to say, and believe it or not, I don't have the stats right in front of me, but Anthony Davis isn't a great deep shooter. He's not a great shooter from distance at all. Last year's bubble run was an anomaly. I think he shot like 40% from the 3-point line, like 50% on free throw line jumpers extended. But when it comes to AD at the 5, I don't think that's the simple solution for this series, because I think DeAndre Ayton poses a significant problem for AD at the 5. DeAndre Ayton is bigger than Davis. He's stronger than Davis. He's an improved post defender. A lot of his defensive work hasn't gotten talked about enough. Since he's came into the league, he's completely changed his game for the Phoenix Suns. Like, he is not the same player since entering the league. Everybody viewed him as a defensive liability. He's no longer that. I actually think he has a solid shot to continue matching up and guarding Davis one-on-one. And if you're the Lakers, are you just going to let Davis continue to take that beating from DeAndre Ayton? Or are you going to play Marc Gasol? Or are you going to try to continue to get Drummond involved? Like, what's the answer for them there?
So, first of all, I disagree with you on DeAndre Ayton having Anthony Davis's number defensively. Maybe in that first game he did, but I don't necessarily think that's officially set in stone that DeAndre Ayton is going to consistently destroy Anthony Davis defensively, because that's not necessarily what DeAndre Ayton's known for, at least not up until this point. Maybe he's
gotten a lot better. His defensive numbers are great, Mike.
Coop, we have to remember here. Remember, Mike hates DeAndre Ayton. All right. Just as much as you love Julius Randle, Mike hates DeAndre Ayton. Remember?
I don't hate DeAndre Ayton.
Directly compared him to Andre Drummond and said DeAndre Ayton.
I did compare him to Andre Drummond.
You did.
Yeah, remember.
I did compare him to Andre Drummond.
Okay,
yes,
please remember.
I did.
You did compare him.
I did compare him to Andre Drummond, unless, and I think he can eventually at some point in his career. Until he is able to develop a consistent jump shot, which I think he has the potential to do so.
Clint Capella
and I've said it
have
over
a
and over
consistent
again.
jump shot, and he still is a great.
He's
not a great player.
He's not a jump shot away.
Yeah. Not every center needs a jump shot. Would it make him better? Of course, but what he does is great.
I'm saying at this stage of his career, I'm not comparing him to Andre Drummond now. I'm comparing him to Andre Drummond at the height of his powers, and that's more of a.
But the NBA was different back then, so Andre Drummond at the height of his powers
2016
when you could. 2015, 20, back then,
2016.
I guess. It still was
fair.
The NBA is evolving. At that point, Andre Drummond's becoming more and more of that dinosaur type player. I don't want to rag on him too much. He gets you to Andre Drummond. First of all, has a reputation of putting up the most hollow stats. I don't want to hate on him too much. He could give you quality spot minutes for sure at the center position, but the difference between him and DeAndre Ayton is able to, play 30, 35, 36 minutes and put up a huge contribution, a potentially, game-winning contribution in game one. Man was talked about all over the place. He was incredibly impressive. And he surprised a lot of people. So, I'm not saying anything really against you, even comparing him to Andre Drummond, because if you were reading the comments, posting Reddit threads, social media, everyone was like, oh, damn, DeAndre Ayton came to play. And that's going to be, a huge X factor going forward. Is DeAndre Ayton going to keep playing the way he's playing? Is he going to, be that number one pick that he was? And, get that kind of, are they going to get that kind of contribution for him? Or is Anthony Davis, going to just start smacking him? Because the last time Anthony Davis, I saw this stat too. The last time Anthony Davis had such a poor shooting game, like around 30% shooting, whatever, was against Portland in game one. And then he proceeded to average around 33 points per game rest of the series and shot over 60% and just smoked the Blazers. So we'll see. This could just be game one overreactions.
So I do think it's a game one or overreaction.
It happens all the time. Yeah.
If there's one thing I noticed from last year's playoff run, and I understand, different circumstances, Disney World, Mickey Mouse ring, whatever, but last year, this is the first time I heard of A Disney. I thought that was really creative. But the one thing I noticed the most was the Lakers would do something in game one. It clearly wouldn't work. They would make the appropriate adjustment. And Frank Vogel just has proven to me historically that he is remarkable at making those adjustments. As to what Korzemba is saying about Drummond, I think it's important to remind everyone, this isn't a max contract player. This is a guy that we signed for the vet minimum. He could potentially be starter caliber. He could potentially not be starting caliber. Something else that I want to point out to you guys is Marc Gasol didn't play at all in game one. 0 minutes. Montrezl Harrell played 15 minutes. Drummond played 19 minutes. Davis played 14 minutes, and Gasol played nothing. So yesterday at practice, as a matter of fact, Andre Drummond even hinted that there's going to be a big lineup change. And this is his exact quote. A lot of rationalization here, but he said, "I think with the big lineup, we just didn't have enough time to work on it. So something that we're just kind of throwing out there with little time and little experience. And I think we're doing a good job of figuring it out on the fly, despite us being in the playoffs right now. Obviously, lineup changes are going to happen, and we're going to do whatever it takes to win. So it's just feeling it out and what's best for the team." Doesn't sound like Andre Drummond's really stamping his feet, complaining that he might not start.
We'll see, man. When it comes he's looking for a bag. That's all I'm saying. Looking for a bag.
When it comes to AD and DeAndre Ayton, I don't want to make it seem like I think DeAndre Ayton's going to lock up AD. I think AD is bouncing back for sure. I'm just saying that if DeAndre Ayton continues playing at this level, then I think the Lakers are in trouble. And as long as DeAndre Ayton continues to make life tough for Anthony Davis, I think the Lakers are going to have a lot of problems going forward. Also, we got to talk Bron. We're going to do that in a second, I'm sure. But
I would like to talk Bridges with Bron.
When it comes to AD, how many times in the playoffs has he gone up against somebody that has similar size, similar length, is as athletic and as mobile as Ayton? And I mean, like that's just tough to go against if you're AD, because surely every time he's played, most of the times he's played somebody in the playoffs, he's always had some sort of advantage on them. Whereas when it comes to Ayton, I feel like he does a good job of at least giving him a shot.
So honestly, it's really hard for me to comment on it because so far we're only one game in. And I believe that the Lakers are very dependent on their ability to make adjustments. So hopefully I'm right about this, and hopefully we see something different tonight. But as to now, I can't answer that this pod. I could potentially answer that next pod.
Yeah. So what did you want to say about? I agree. I think we're all talked out with this. Like, I think there's only so much we can say. We'll see what happens. We'll see if AD rebounds. But I do want to. What did you want to say about Bron?
Well, when it comes to Bron, I feel like he's been doing so much for this Lakers team for so long that when he has like an average game, people are like, "Oh no, the sky is falling. What's going on with LeBron James?" contrary to popular belief, I actually felt like he had a very solid game one. And I think I've heard comments from Fogel or players on the Lakers that, his ankle is still bothering him. Now, we know historically Bron hasn't always put the best game one on paper. I'm interested to see what happens going forward with LeBron James, because I think, obviously he's going to be an X factor for this series, but I'm not sure the Lakers have shown me the ability to create offense outside of him just yet in these playoffs.
Which is, that's big with Dennis Schroeder going forward. But then also to me, that's kind of a thing. It's like, everyone rags on the Heat, understandably, for the right now with Tyler Hero and James Harden. It's like, okay, look, the Heat, I saw Mike, you even tweeted about it. And it was, they could have got James Harden for Tyler Hero. How could they not give him up? Talen Horton-Tucker played 7 minutes in this playoff game. The Lakers were not willing to give him up. They're looking for a future piece there. But is that going to come back to bite them? Because, Mike, you're right. They are Coop. They are having problems creating offense. And they could have had Kyle Lowry. They could have had someone. I think that could end up being like a little mini what if. What if they had ended up pulling the trigger and making that trade? Because they refused to include him in a trade.
So here's go for it.
I'm sorry, Mike. I was just going to say, and this is also probably another bad take, but with LeBron 36 going on 37 and coming off this ankle injury, I really like the rotation of perimeter defenders that the Suns have to throw at LeBron James.
That's why I wanted to talk about Bridges, because dude, Bridges, you got to give it to him. He's on an island sometimes, a decent amount against LeBron. He's more than holding his own. He is more than holding his own as a young player. Like the Suns, they missed on a lot of draft picks, a ton of draft picks. We could go back. They had Marquise Chris, they had guys like that, Alex Len. They kept missing until suddenly they stopped missing. Suddenly now, they had a change in the front office, and boom, you got guys like Bridges, you got guys like Aiden, of course Booker, but then you got guys, Cam Johnson, and made pickups like Crowder. They made a pickup, Chris Paul, Campaign even coming in.
The thing with their perimeter defenders is that these guys can shoot too. These guys aren't liabilities on the offensive side of the basketball.
Solid team. Dude, they built a solid team, and if this was not LeBron and the Lakers, they'd be getting so much more respect. People are just going LeBron, Lakers. Oh, okay, the general average NBA fan's going to be, and it makes sense, until LeBron proves us wrong, until he does get bounced, you're going to look at LeBron to make a run, make the NBA finals. But this Suns team is legit. And I keep pulling up things that I saw today, but I saw today, net rating wise, Suns, I think, are easily the hardest first round opponent that LeBron has ever faced. Unsurprisingly, because he's a 7th seed, but they are the hardest first round opponent he's ever faced. And it's going to be tough.
I wanted to make a comment as to, the construction of the Phoenix Suns, because they were placed in really bad situations in the NBA draft. They missed on their 2016 pick, which was Dragon Bender, which was their 4th pick, the 13th pick in that draft, which was Georgios Papagiannis, and they also missed on Josh Jackson. And I think that's about it. I think that's about it. Marquise Chris. Oh yeah, I forgot. Oh, Georgios Papagiannis was traded. Alex Len. I'll forgive them for Alex Len. I'll forgive them for Dragon Bender. I'll also forgive them for Josh Jackson.
How?
Because if you remember,
top 5 picks, right? Or top 7 picks.
I'm about to tell you. Who were they supposed to draft instead of Alex Len?
What draft was that?
Look at the 2013 NBA draft. That was, who went before Alex Len? This is the draft that went Anthony Bennett, Victor Oladipo, Otto Porter, Cody Zeller, Alex Len. There wasn't this was an all role player draft.
No.
Up until Giannis until the only
CJ McCollum, bro. You calling CJ a role player? I was high on CJ too. I wanted CJ to go to the Pelicans.
All right, fair. I mean, yeah, I guess you make a point, but that was just a.
I'll give you that draft
relative to other drafts.
I'll give you that draft.
So what about 27?
But here's the thing
26.
is, like, I'll give you that draft, but I'll say that when it becomes such a pattern in history of missing, then it combines, you know? It's like, okay, you missed in 2013. Like, I'll give some teams a pass in that draft, but the Suns, like, when you combine how bad they were drafting at that time, it's hard to give them a pass.
I'll also say,
like
I'm sorry. No, you got this one, Mike. I keep cutting you off.
No, you got it.
I would have rather taken Nerlens Noel and had a chance on him.
Yeah, Nerlens had a lot of hype back then too. I'll say this though. I think a lot of people give teams passes for, you know, not having like the greatest pool of players to pick from. But you don't have to sit there and make that pick. Like, if you're sitting there and you're a GM and you're like, man, I don't like anything available, you could trade the pick. There's nothing wrong with trading the picks, even though I know a lot of GMs have gotten hate for trading picks in the past. I really don't see an issue with it.
2016, they drafted Dragon Bender and Marquise Chris. I guess that was the trade with Papagiannis that I was mentioning earlier. But after Dragon Bender, the only player that made an all-star team was the 11th pick, Domantas Sabonis. Then the 27th pick.
Which is tough because they took two bigs over him.
Bro, you're kind of you're sleeping on Buddy Hield, who's actually been a little rough.
Hold on, I was about to say they could have drafted
Jamal Murray,
or Karis LeVert. So okay, very fair points here, and they were really. I remember that draft actually. You guys make a good point. I remember that draft very well, and Suns fans were livid that they weren't selecting a point guard. So you guys are right. I guess. This is kind of the reason why I've always given them a pass for selecting Ayton over Luka, because you get to the 2018 NBA draft and you're getting to that territory where, okay, you've had Devin Booker for 3 years. You know, you have about 7 years to prove to your star player that, hey, we're a good franchise. We know what we're doing. Please don't leave. So you get to the 2018 draft and then you have the presumptive, like, safe pick, which is DeAndre Ayton. And then you have the super boomer bust picks in Trae Young and Luka Doncic.
I don't think Luka
was.
Luka was never boomer bust. What are you talking about? He was the youngest EuroLeague MVP. He was dominating grown men since he was 16. What do you mean?
It's easy. It's easy to play Captain Hindsight.
Dude, Captain Hindsight. Literally, there were so many people that were on the road. You look at all my social media. You know what? Pull up Mike Korzemba, Luka Doncic right now, and literally it says, meet the best prospect since LeBron James. Boom.
He called you Captain Hindsight.
Yeah, but you're also the person that said, meet Lonzo Ball, Steph Curry with a 50-inch
That was you.
So, like...
It was 40.
That was you.
All right, Mike, you want to go through your videos? Let's go through your news videos.
No, we're not doing this. We don't have to do this.
Exactly. All right, exactly.
No, I'm saying it's easy to look at the top of the draft and hype up the top players in the draft. What I'm saying is, in this scenario, if you're the Phoenix Suns, you missed on a foreign prospect already in Dragon Bender. You missed on Josh Jackson. You missed on multiple draft
I don't even
picks
get your point, though. What's your point here? No one is arguing that they made a bad pick. You created your own narrative.
Okay.
Korzemba, I just got a question for you. When you made that Lonzo Ball video, how bought in were you?
How bought in was I? How bought in was everyone? Guess what?
No,
I made that video.
I didn't ask about everybody. I'm not talking to everybody.
Oh no, I was loving Lonzo. I'll admit that fully. But also,
you believed it. You believed it.
Yes, I believed it. I believed it. And I will also say though, well, I mean, that was clickbait. That's the one thing that I will 100% say. You know, sometimes like, you know, you make titles that are, you know, that are attention grabbing. All right. That's what I'll say other than clickbait. That was too far, way too far. Should not have said it. Should not have said Steph Curry with the 40-inch vertical. That was too far. That is why
I don't know, man. It got, how many views did that video end up getting?
It only has,
I think that was iconic.
It has, yeah, whatever. Regardless, I mean, yeah, it's my meme, so that's great. But
that's one of my favorite videos.
Yeah,
it's funny. But I will say though, it took like 2 years for the tide to turn on that video. And I would love to also say that, you know what? I will take all the hate in the world for it because I made the video and I should not have titled it that because it was way too far. A ridiculous title. It was I mean, it was definitely hilarious.
I love
it.
Yeah.
But regardless, I will say probably 90% of the people that hate on that video now, or that like post that screenshot or say like, oh, but is he Lonzo with a 40-inch vertical? Right? Every one of those people were commenting, yo, dude, Lonzo's next Steph Curry. Everyone. That video got such an overwhelming positive response. People were tweeting me, thanking me for putting them onto Lonzo Ball, which seems ridiculous, but a lot of NBA guys don't watch basketball, college basketball like that. People were literally tweeting me going, dude, I've watched the last like 3 UCLA games. Lonzo's incredible. Literally, that whole rest of the season, like Lonzo crushing it. He did get outplayed by De'Aaron Fox in the NCAA tournament, but then Lonzo, if you remember correctly, he won Summer League MVP. He came in that rookie season, won Summer League MVP. Everyone was like, dude, oh my God, perfect. And then the tide completely turned on me eventually.
I'll tell you why it's quite possibly like my favorite title to a video ever. And this is coming from a guy that was at UCLA during the Lonzo Ball era. And this is before I started creating basketball content myself. So I was only consuming it at the time. And when I saw the title, and the reason I really appreciated the title is you pretty much encapsulated like Lonzo mania and the hype behind Lonzo in one title. Like 4 years later, it's easy to say, haha, hurt the dirt. Lonzo Ball wasn't that like is a good player, but he's just a solid role player. He's not Steph Curry with a 40-inch vertical. But back then, everyone was going nuts over this guy. Everyone, and the best way to encapsulate the hype behind him is in that title that you made. So that's why I personally loved.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's people won't understand. You have to be there.
The hate that I get from it or whatever, at this point it's just funny. But I definitely went too far. But I mean, back in the day, Lonzo was throwing down dunks. He would get up, he would catch oops. They would literally throw him lobs. He was catching oops, so the 40-inch vertical part was there. And if you look, dude made 41% of his threes at UCLA, knocked down about 2.5 a game. He was doing great things. It's just, it did not translate to the NBA. He got here.
I've never seen such celebrity, and I don't think people realize the celebrity that Lonzo had. It's probably the craziest celebrity I've ever seen from a college player. I think it's even comparable to LeBron James coming out of high school, because this is a guy that was so hyped up that he literally said, yeah, I'm not signing with a brand. I'm coming out with my own brand. We're coming out with our own shoes. Oh, by the way, we have a reality show that's pretty much the Kardashians of basketball. If you guys want to watch us on Facebook, you have his dad that is like the king of grabbing headlines. I've never seen a guy trend like that. It's very comparable to what I saw when I was like 10 years old in 2003 from LeBron James. Although obviously they're not the same player, but the hype was very, very similar.
I wish we could give Lakers Lonzo Lonzo's jump shot. I don't know what happened, but I just feel like he's like a different player now, and that's fine. I feel like he has like a different mindset, but I feel like Lakers Lonzo is like just so much more aggressive, so much more fun to watch. Maybe it's the coaches, maybe they've gotten in his head, but
yeah, I would agree. I mean, maybe also like going to LA was too much too soon. The lights were a little too bright. For a young point guard, especially with Magic sitting there being like, he's, don't break all my records. It's like you're fucking Magic Johnson. Are you actually kidding me right now? Ridiculous statement to make. But I agree with Coop though, dude. Freaking Lonzo. If you go back to those summer league games, you go back to early Lonzo, man was aggressive. Man had all the confidence in himself in the world. I mean, there was a reason his playmaking was like one of those things that was so hyped up. It was like, including by me too. Like his playmaking, his ability to see the floor was incredible. And we don't see that as much anymore with the Pelicans. We don't see it.
It feels like it regressed.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. Maybe we'll see that with the Chicago Bulls.
I hope so, man. I hope so. I really hope so.
Yeah. I honestly think that I really am glad that LeBron came to the Lakers, even though I wasn't a LeBron fan at the time. because the Lakers were pretty much becoming like the NBA version of the Dallas Cowboys. They literally just drafted Lonzo Ball because they thought it would just make a good story. I remember them posting a picture on their Twitter of him in a Lakers practice jersey saying, "This just looks right."
Do you think that's true,
What do
though?
you mean it looks right?
Do you think that's true, though? You really think they took him for the story? I mean, it's the Lakers.
Magic Johnson came out and said it here, that the Lakers literally just took it for the story.
I don't know. That's kind of hard to believe.
So
that sounds like revision.
Yeah.
That sounds like revisionist
yeah,
history.
here.
That sounds like they fully did believe in him, but now they're being like kind of like, oh, we were swept up in the story. I mean, to be fair, Lonzo was crushing it, dude. He was literally the top 10 prospect. Went to UCLA and was first team All-American. Like, it's not like he underachieved in college.
Let me cite this correctly. Bill Oram, a Hornets beat writer for The Athletic, said that the reason why Magic Johnson selected Lonzo Ball was because it was looked at from Magic and others' perspective as being too good of a Hollywood story to pass up. This has to work out because it's a perfect story because it's Hollywood. That's so it didn't come out of Magic's mouth. And he continues to say, you have the most storied franchise and the franchise's most storied player, arguably proclaiming this guy to be the next big thing. And for some reason, he said, wow, at the end. So it seems like the Lakers were trending down a very dark path at that time.
Yeah. I mean, who was making the decisions, though? It wasn't Magic. Was
Magic
he actually
Rob
making it, though? Yeah, it was more...
I think it was Rob, and just Magic Rob, was like the face, because Rob wasn't really the best at doing press conferences back then. Like, he came off as a little... Most Laker fans, like, back then, didn't like how he came up, and he would give these, like, stories, like, these religious stories, and some were even exposed as being fake. So... he wasn't, I'm assuming he wasn't really good with the media, and that's why. But I wanted to ask you guys, I don't know if you saw tonight's game against the Clippers and the Mavericks is on at the same time as the Lakers game versus the Suns, which I don't know why. I don't understand why. All Laker fans will watch the Clipper game and root against the Clippers. Like, I could say that. I could attest to that. But we have to discuss the Clippers situation against the Dallas Mavericks because both LA teams are down 0-1 so far. So, Korzemba, do you want to start us off here?
Well, I'll go out and say, last pod, me and Coop, I asked Coop, like, where would you rank Luka as a playoff player last year? And he was like, oh, top 5 for sure. And it's back to the same old thing. It looks like game 1. I mean, Mavericks score 113 points. Luka with a 31 point, 11 assists, 10 rebound. The guy is capable of carrying a playoff team in a way that few players are able to carry a playoff team success-wise. I trust Luka so much come playoff time. I think he just crushes it. He spread the ball around well with his starters. The Mavericks didn't get much off their bench, but I would say what's most important with the Clippers is they've got Paul George, they've got Kawhi Leonard. Who else do they have? Does it feel like this team is just worse than last year? Like,
no. I actually
it doesn't.
really like
I don't really love them.
I like them. I think they bounced back game 2. I think Luka carried hard game 1, but I think people aren't giving the role players enough love. I mean, we look at the stat sheet. We got Finney Smith with 18. Kristaps was horrible. I don't know what that was from Kristaps. You got to think he's going to come back and play a better game. Go ahead.
Isn't that the terrifying part, though? Like, Kristaps was horrible, and the Mavericks still won.
I don't know how much Kristaps moves the needle for them, to be honest. So, they've played fine without Kristaps all season.
The thing with Kristaps is when he's not scoring, he, hurts you on the basketball court. There are plenty of players that when they don't score, they still, they put their head down. They play better defense. They grab rebounds. They create for their teammates. Kristaps, it really feels like when he doesn't score well, he kind of just gets in his own head and he just isn't as impactful as a player as you'd want him to be.
Have you seen him try to defend on the perimeter? He's got to be top 5 worst in the league. I love Kristaps, but he's so bad laterally.
It's bad. It's an automatic blow by.
Yeah, it's obviously not his fault, but I mean, it's an issue nonetheless.
I don't know. I mean, like, again, could be overreactions. You never know. There always are overreactions game 1. But just what I saw from the Clippers was I was kind of worried just about the help that's surrounding Kawhi and Paul George. And who knows? Maybe Morris drops like 30 tonight. Maybe Batum goes off, but we'll see.
So to continue what I was saying, Brunson had a 15, 4 of 7. The Clippers role players played a great game. The Mavericks role players played a great game. We go to the Clippers, man, and I like their lineup and I like their versatility, and I love the fact that we should be seeing Kawhi Leonard on Luka Doncic this upcoming game, according to Tyronn Lue. This is what Lue said. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. But when we look at the Clippers, again, I like their versatility. Morris Sr. is versatile. Zubac's a good defender. Patrick Beverley is a little overrated, but, he brings energy on defense. Obviously, I like Paul George as a defender. I like Batum's length. I think he's a knockdown shooter when he's going. I like Ibaka, obviously. Rondo's going to hit his playoff form eventually. Reggie Jackson's a good bench piece. I like their team. I like their team. I feel like they got a lot of versatility. I feel like they got a lot of pieces.
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
I like their chances to bounce back. I really do.
I also is concerning to me their minutes that they played. If you look, like, it looks like Dallas has they have their guys figured out. They have their top 7.
So I got a question for you, Korzemba. I got a question for you. If you're the Clippers, are you trying to turn Luka Doncic into a scorer, or are you letting him do his thing, facilitate, score? Or are you just saying, all right, if Luka beats us and he drops 50, drops 60, he beats us?
I like the question. It's more of, the Spurs did that way back in the day with Steve Nash, where they just let him score and it ended up working out well. I would say, early on in the game, yeah, maybe you just try to let Luka get his, because especially I would say, because it seems like I said, when Porzingis is not involved in the offense, he's not scoring. I think he gets removed from the game a lot more than other all-star caliber players. I think he gets angry. I think he literally gets straight up annoyed on the court that he's not touching the ball enough. I think that, he doesn't put in as much effort, and it goes the opposite way too. I think when he starts scoring well and when he crushes it, his effort is there. It's great. Like, he becomes a different player, but you can't be Porzingis. You can't play 36 minutes, shoot 4 for 13. So you don't do well there. Have 1 assist and 4 rebounds, and you're 7 foot.
4 rebounds, man. Yeah.
Like, you're 7'2". Like, come on. Like,
7'3",
Maxi Kleber had
7'3".
9. Yeah. Kleber had 9. Finney Smith had more than it. Had 5. Freaking Melly had 4 rebounds in 9 minutes. Like, it can't be happening. And it's just like, I guess it's like Brook Lopez syndrome, kind of. Brook Lopez when he was on the Nets, like over 7-footer, like 7'1" around. Bro.
No, that's different. Brook Lopez teams rebounded better with Brook Lopez on the floor. He actually boxed. He was like one of the league leaders in like box outs or something. He actually was a major net positive on the glass, even though he wasn't grabbing boards. Kind of like Steven Adams. Yeah,
but the only counter I'm having in my own head is that Luka grabs like 10 rebounds a game in these.
Yeah, true.
So like that's like the counter. It's like kind of where he takes away from the big man's rebounds. But still, if you're Porzingis, you would think you want him to have that mentality of give me the ball, get out of the way, I'm grabbing this, which he doesn't always have. He doesn't always have that fire.
Yeah, I feel like I saw him kind of force the issue and try to get himself going. In game 1, I want to see Porzingis get some more easy baskets. I want to see him. I don't know if I want to necessarily see him closer to the basket, because I'm not sure he's that type of player. But I want them looking for him early on and making sure he's getting some nice easy looks to get him going.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I think easier said than done, right? But I think if they can, like, that is something they should 100% be looking for. Like Porzingis, you get his confidence going. You get a different player. You get a guy that's capable of dropping 30 plus, but like if his shots doesn't fall early on, sometimes you get just a shell of him. What do you think, Mike? What do you think about the Clippers? What do you think about their chances? Who do you think is taking home this series?
Believe it or not, I do think the Clippers got worse from last year to this year. On paper, it looks like they got better. I don't think the coaching change from Doc Rivers to Tyronn Lue was an upgrade by any means. I felt like that was more service to Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. I also don't understand why they were trying to duck the Lakers. Why they were trying to duck the Lakers and face a team that they almost lost to last year. And honestly, I think if Kristaps Porzingis played last year in the series, they probably would have lost to last year. And I think we were all reminded of that after their first game. I don't know. Personally, it could just be a bad game. After all, I have to make the same exact argument as I did for the Lakers as I am for the Clippers. Maybe they come out and make some adjustments for game 2 and they do things a little differently and they beat Luka and the Mavericks. But I can't help but feel like this year's a little bit different. Luka might be like burning a little bit after losing the series last year. And I do actually think that the Mavericks might end up pulling this off. So I could be wrong, but I just see way too many holes on the Clippers team. And
I trust
I don't
the
know.
Lakers
It
more.
depends if we see.
That's what I'll say.
I do too.
I trust the Lakers
because
more
they
to make adjustments.
Yes, exactly. Last year, the reason why the Clippers lost to the Nuggets was because they failed to make adjustments. And I don't know, maybe Tyronn Lue embraces analytics a little bit more than Doc Rivers. We have to give him a chance, am I right? But historically, I don't think he's ever been that type of coach. He's been a supportive coach. He's been a motivational coach. He's a guy that people like, but I don't really perceive Tyronn Lue as this like master tactician that says, "Oh, okay, we got to come in next game and make X and Y adjustments."
No, I don't think so. Quick point while I'm on Tyronn. Quick point, sorry. And then, sorry. I just want to say that, yeah, I agree with the tactician part. And also, I mean, if you look at, I've been reading, some articles recently about Kawhi Leonard, whether he's going to stay or go. If you look, there's some, huge words about Tyronn Lue. And basically, a lot of people are just praising him because he's able to keep guys like Kawhi Leonard in check. Where, like, he's able to, last year we heard a bunch of rumblings about how Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, they would be late to the plane, they were on their own time. Sounds like that's not the case anymore. It sounds like Tyronn Lue has righted that ship and has gotten them to be more buying into the system and okay, you might be the star, but you have to lead by example. But I mean, that only goes so far. I am very interested to see the changes they make and the game planning that goes on for this game too, because we know Rick Carlisle, he always has something going on. He always is perfectly capable of changing up the game plan and making things very difficult for the Clippers. So let's see if Ty Lue can do the same thing. Sorry, Coop, what were you saying?
So with Lue, I'm not the biggest Lue guy, not close to being the biggest Lue guy, but I actually got in an argument with the Pelicans beat writer this summer when the Pelicans were looking for a coach. And what's up?
On Twitter?
Yeah, I got into an argument because I was basically mad that the Pelicans were interviewing failed coaching candidates, and this guy was like, "Well, Lue's not a failed coaching candidate," and I'm like, "No, he's not." Me personally, I just like to see new talent come into the league and get opportunities, as opposed to somebody like Van Gundy who's failed in the past and at their last stop. But that's another topic. So we got into it, and while we were arguing, he was like, "Well, Tyronn Lue's not failed. Tyronn Lue is a lot of people give Tyronn Lue the credit for making some adjustments with the Cavs and LeBron on guarding Stephen Curry, and a lot of players, Kevin Love being one of them, actually cited Tyronn Lue's adjustments in the playoffs as one of the biggest reasons they were able to go on and win a championship. Because if I remember correctly, those Cavs team, that Cavs team was not a good regular season team defensively, but in the playoffs they did what they had to do to get the job done. So
you're saying that he is good at making adjustments.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that maybe we're not giving Lou enough credit. I definitely think the Clippers are going to bounce back game 2. And I look forward to seeing. I mean, I even think just putting Kawhi on Luka is big. So, you know, I can't wait to see how that turns out.
We need to see more out of Kawhi, man. Honestly, like, the X factor of the series might just end up being, is Kawhi Leonard playing like the superstar that, you know, he was during the Toronto Raptors run, or is he playing a little bit of a level down like he played this season? You know, he still is great, still at that start, like, you know, fringe superstar level, but hasn't been that exact guy that is the number one option on a championship leading team. We haven't seen that right now. You know, we didn't see game 1, so I'm interested to see if we see game 2.
He wasn't bad game 1 at all, but
I'd say Luka outplayed him.
What do you think about Lauri Markkanen saying that he wants to team up with Luka?
First of all, I would like to point out that a lot of people just immediately, that got a lot of attention, like more than it would, because people are just claiming that it's racist because there's just 3 like European guys together. I don't think it's racist. I know for a fact because I've been a Bulls fan, so like I know Lauri has been like at least talking to or like, you know, friendly with Luka for a long time. Like they just happen to both be, you know, overseas guys that are coming to the NBA. Like I don't think there's anything racist about that. They're just they both were, you know, raised in the same basketball environment. Lauri definitely wanted Luka on the Bulls. Like the Bulls were in the lottery. You know, they had a chance. Again, like I've mentioned before, they could have got that number 2 pick that the Kings got. They got extremely unlucky, lost the coin flip, and the Kings they actually won the coin flip, and the Kings ended up getting the number 2 pick. But yeah, so I just think Lauri wants to play with Luka. End of the day, I don't even know how much Porzingis factors into that really, but like Coop said, terrible fit. Like, how is that going to work? We're already complaining about Porzingis's lack of mobility, about his inability to defend, about his inability to rebound. Lauri has, like, at one point, I was the biggest Lauri fan, and I wanted him to succeed so badly. And I think, you know, if he goes to the right situation, I think he will be better. I don't think the Bulls are the best situation for him. However, like, him and Porzingis as your team's front court, like, are you trying to give up 140 points per game? I don't know. And also, like we've mentioned before, we want to see Luka with more of a pick and roll threat. Some guy he could run the pick and roll with, throw lobs to, get some more easy, like, you know, easy assists, like have a rim protector there. That does not give you that at all. And Lauri has straight up said that he is looking for a bigger role and he is looking to fulfill his potential. So this is a man who's going to be coming in. He wants to be launching about like 14, 15 shots a game. So yeah, those are all the reasons I don't like the fit.
To play the other side of things, you know, I don't think this is necessarily an argument, but do any of you guys disagree with the fact that Mark Cuban prefers European talent?
I personally, I could understand why it comes off a specific way.
All right.
But I think
Mike, before you go any further, I'm going to read you this quote from Mark Cuban. He says, "It's important because you're used to being older than you, but I think he's talking about Luka here. He just learned how to play basketball, and that's the biggest gift. When you're gifted as he is, and you actually learn to play the game, if you look at the basketball education of kids starting at 11 years old in Europe, and particularly Slovenia, which is basketball oriented, if we took our best kids and 7 years before they are McDonald's All-Americans, we sent them over to Slovenia to get an education, the league would be 1,000 times better. They just learn how to play basketball while our guys learn how to taunt and put together mixtapes."
Ooh, okay. See, that's such a rough quote because I honestly could like stand with him right until the end where he completely ruined everything he said. Like, that sounds racial to me. Yeah, I don't love that at all. That sounds horrible. That's horrible. Why did he say that end part? If he didn't say that end part, because I could go with the fact that if you're 11 years old, okay, and you're literally like over there overseas, you can be signed to like Real Madrid's youth
I'll agree with you there.
And so like you're in Real Madrid's youth program. You're literally learning what it means to be a professional on and off the court. You're playing professional basketball your whole like life. Like, you know, you're in a more like a better like system for you to succeed. Like, it's been proven to work. So I understand what he's saying, like, in terms of that, but I don't know what he made it like weird. Definitely at the end, like that definitely sounds
at the
like
very
racial.
end. Flight Mike, what are your thoughts on that quote from Cuban?
You know, originally I defended him when you gave me the first quote a couple weeks ago about the, you know, walking on the street with a hood. But I gave him benefit of the doubt. But I don't know, man. When you add all this up, it's a little sketchy. Here's the thing with Mark Cuban. I don't think he has like racial like intentions, but I do think that he's established this knack of being controversial, that it's kind of like Flanderization, but in real life, where he goes out of his way to say wild, controversial things. I did pay attention to the fact that he tends to favor European players, and to be honest, I kind of liked it in the sense that I felt like it's good for the expansion of the game. Like the fate of the game is literally resting upon the NBA being able to expand overseas and draw the attention from like Latvia, Slovenia, China, etc., etc. And like he had Germany and Canada in his previous generation of players with Steve Nash and Dirk Nowitzki. Yeah, I don't think he has racial intentions. Rather, I feel like he really just likes to take the controversial route. It could be like he has this little complex that, hey, I'm a billionaire, I don't care, I'm bulletproof.
Personally, I think that's what I think. Like, I think he's just like I think he's that, you know, grandpa kind of figure who says something and it's just like, you know, like, okay, like, oh, there's grandpa saying something that's semi-racist. And, you know, not that I have a grandpa like that.
Yeah.
I don't even have a grandpa. So I'm not exposing my own grandpa here. You know, my RIP, both my grandpas. But I'm just saying, like, you know, it's like kind of that like older person thing where it's like, oh, he said something and it's like, oh, maybe he's out of touch with the culture. But the thing is, I'm not going to defend Mark Cuban at all because he's definitely in touch with the culture. He is literally an NBA basketball owner. Like, get out of here. You know exactly what you're saying. Choose your words more carefully. And it even sucks to even have to say that, because if I'm saying choose your words more carefully, that means that those words are still inside of you and that the person that you are is just being revealed to us through your own words. So yeah, those words definitely made me lose some respect for Mark Cuban, sure.
There's just no reason to say the end quote. And you know, he's a businessman. He knows what he's saying. He's not new to being interviewed. He's not new to these situations.
I'll admit, I am not a fan of AAU culture at all. I'm not. And Coop, you've had experience in the AAU, so you are probably the best person to talk about this.
I really didn't like AAU basketball that much. A lot of coaches I played for were just opportunists trying to take advantage of like the kids. I remember our coach had one kid. It's actually one of my best friends. He actually ended up getting him a scholarship, so you know, good for him. But he would pretty much make my friend like cut grass with him in order to like attend games, and it was just like, obviously he's not, you know, paying him what he deserves. Obviously, like, it's just like cheap labor. And you know,
what?
the mom looks at it like, oh well, you know, it's a family friend, or like, this guy's in our corner, when, you know, obviously he's just trying to profit off of the kids. And you know, I've witnessed it so many times where they charge different kids different rates, and it's kind of like becoming a pay to play in some situations. Yeah, AAU basketball, the whole business side of it is disgusting. The basketball side of it isn't great, but you know, at the end of the day, it does get kids some looks. So I guess I do kind of enjoy it, at least for what it could, for the positives that it could bring.
I'm interested in what the overtime, you guys have seen that overtime basketball league, where they're going to be paying players. I'm not exactly sure the full details of like what they're paying.
I didn't see that, but did you see that there's a high school player foregoing their senior season in high school to go right to the G League?
Yes, so he's playing 2 years in the G League for the Ignite, which I think is huge because, yeah, I mean, that kind of leads the door open for that, which is cool. I mean, I think he's going to be a good, I mean, you don't love to say test case, but kind of test case, because we'll see how does that work out.
Man,
how does it work out when you go 2 years in the G League?
I can tell you after 4 years of high school basketball, I learned nothing. Like, it's just an absolute waste of time for me. Like, it was just a pointless experience. You know, so I can imagine with these.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you have to imagine, there's a certain amount that high school coaches could teach you compared to literally some of the best coaches in the world.
I mean, the best thing I probably learned was like the step through move or something, you know? The best thing I probably got from high school was shooting practice other than conditioning and crap. So I could imagine these 5-star prospects feeling like they're not getting anything from the high school system.
Given the fact that you were exploited, though, I mean, not you, but your friend was exploited during his experience in AAU, I do see that side of what Mark Cuban is saying. Like, you take a young kid and instead of putting him in a situation where he's mowing someone's lawn, which, you know, like, pay someone else to do it, get someone else to do it. This is an 11-year-old kid, you know, like, so I was talking to one of my friends the other day and I was saying, like, I am so familiar with like various SpongeBob SquarePants clips because I watched it like crazy when I was like 8 years old or like 10 years old, or I don't know, even younger. And I kind of wish that like there was something better on TV that like kind of would have contributed to my development a little bit more. So in that sense, I kind of see where Mark Cuban's coming from, because you take these 11-year-old kids and you put them, I don't know, in Slovenia. It doesn't even have to be Slovenia. It could be anything that will contribute to their development a little bit more, make them, which results in them making better decisions as basketball players. Maybe they're better at managing their finances. We know how many horror stories we hear of basketball players like purchasing a mansion that's like, I don't know, over $5 million. They end up getting destroyed by property taxes. The moment they're out of the league, they no longer could afford it. Obviously, you have success stories like Kevin Durant, who is on the verge of becoming a billionaire or is a billionaire, but that's besides the point. The system could use reformation for sure. And I think that's why we're starting to see situations like the G League Ignite, or, you know, LeVar Ball tried the JBA. Yeah. And Overtime's apparently doing their basketball league as well.
Yeah, so I pulled up Overtime's basketball league. If you don't know fully about it, so listen. So here's what Overtime is doing, which is pretty cool. So they have a league where they're eyeing. They just got Matt Booley and Ryan Booley. I'm not sure if I'm saying their last names right. They are 2 5-star prospects, junior and a senior, obviously brothers, but they just got those 2 guys. Those are their first 2 huge gets. And so the Overtime League is eyeing prospects ages 16 to 18 and will have up to 30 players and possibly several teams. They're going to be training year round. They're going to be playing games against American prep schools and international teams. And they've promised to provide 6-figure salaries for all players. Keep in mind, these guys are 16 to 18, along with full health care, an academic program, and guarantees of up to an additional $100,000 to use for college costs. So this could be a huge, huge step in the direction of, you know, these 16-year-olds suddenly, okay, I'm done. Like, you know, I'm a pro. Like, I'm being raised to be a pro. You know, I'm taking that step. So I definitely am excited to watch the Overtime Basketball League. I'm excited to see the future of that, along with the G League Ignite. I think those 2 things combined are, you know, giving guys options that they didn't have in the past. It's really like, if you're 16 years old and you're good enough to make money playing basketball, if you live in basically any country other than the United States, you can do that. But right now, like, you wouldn't be able to. But so it seems like the G League and Overtime, they're creating opportunities, which is awesome. I would say the only other thing that was on my mind was with the 11-year-old kids. See, I bet you there's a dark side to that we don't really hear much about either. Because we know the Lucas, we know the guys that went through the system and made it out and are, the super successful ones. We don't know the kids that got forced into an 11-year-old basketball program and to train year round and everything, and then were 14 and weren't good enough anymore, or just hate basketball and don't want to do this anymore, and kind of were in a literal it's kind of like I don't know how structured it is, but setting an 11-year-old over and making him part of a huge professional brand basketball team, I guess you could see that as extreme. I mean, I know I made a video about this in China. There's definitely levels to this, because in China, they literally take their top athletes, at least they used to. I don't know what's going on anymore, but they used to do this. It was called Project something. All right. They would take their top men's and women's basketball players, let's say, or volleyball players. They decided they wanted to win Olympic gold medals and have amazing athletes. And so they literally would be like, okay, you guys breed, basically. That's the only way to really put it. They would breed their top athletes and have them marry and everything. Like Yao Ming's mom and dad are the result of an arranged marriage by the Chinese government, and they were the tallest men's and women's basketball players. And that's why he's so tall. So a little bit of a side tangent, a little crazy, but yeah, all I'm saying is we don't see the other side of the kids that don't end up making it out or don't end up succeeding when they're playing.
That's actually crazy what you just said about Yao Ming. My thing is, I think there has to be a balance. But to touch on the overtime thing that you said, I think that's definitely good. I know a lot of people ragged on the JBA. The JBA was not the greatest league on the planet. Nobody is ever going to argue that it was. I don't know if you guys actually caught any JBA games. I was bought into the big baller hype. So I caught a few. I was watching Jello drop 50, man. Don't play with me, bro. I know Flight Mike. I know you watched some of them. I
definitely did. I did.
I did
MVP of the league.
Bro, it was such a poor brand of basketball, literally like LA Fitness hoops.
Yeah.
I want to know what happened to the best JBA players, honestly. I'm actually going to look that up after.
Dude, make a video. What happened to the JBA? But honestly,
you
that has a chance to bang. But
yeah, I think I will.
I'll say overtime. They have investors. I just want to point this out too, as you're bringing this up, because it was LeVar was obviously the main guy pushing JBA. Overtime's investors for this league include Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, Drake, Kevin Durant, Trae Young, Klay Thompson, Carmelo Anthony. So they've got names. They've got guys pushing this. If you got Drake, Jeff Bezos, freaking KD, Trae, Melo,
that's gonna be the sponsors for our pod one day. No cap, no cap.
Overtime.
But to add on to what I was saying about the JBA, I do believe the JBA helped bring change, and I do think some of these players going overseas forced the NBA to kind of loosen the G League rule and bring on that G League program. So with this overtime thing, I'm kind of wondering if this is going to force the NBA's hand yet again. I wish they were more progressive and aggressive with this type of stuff on their own, but ultimately, I see this.
Say it's a first step overtime. Because so here's a quote: "The beauty of overtime is you take guys like Matt and Ryan, all right, so the guys that just agreed to play in this, and you turn them into pros, but they're not playing against grown men in the G League. They'll be competing against guys their age, which gives them a great opportunity to continue to develop. And there's money set aside that guarantees 4 years of college if they get hurt or don't get to the NBA." So, sounds pretty great to me, honestly,
Sounds pretty utopian, actually.
Yeah, right? Honestly, literally, they're like, okay, yeah, we're gonna, have classes too. They're not just they're professional athletes, but they go to class, and if it doesn't work out, boom, they can go to college. So,
I wanted to ask you guys about something else that has been dominating headlines over the past week before we end the pod. So, the number one overall pick in the 2001 NBA draft, Kwame Brown. This guy has had quite possibly one of the greatest starts to a social media influencer career that I think I have ever seen. Like, I think at the time that we're making this video, his YouTube channel, Kwame Brown Bust Life, which is literally the name of his channel, is at 202,000 subscribers. All gained within the past we're going to start from the 17th. All gained from the past 8 days.
So, we want this podcast to blow up, right?
I know where this is going. Yes, I'm listening.
We want a lot of clout, right?
Of course.
All right, is anybody right now just trying to go out there, throw a haymaker at Kwame?
I mean, Korzemba, this is you, bro.
I think this is Korzemba.
This isn't me, dude. I don't know enough. I honestly don't know enough.
You don't know enough. You don't know enough.
You
don't know what's going on?
Dude, I swear to God, I haven't been following it. The only thing I can say about Kwame Brown is that, I mean, what he's saying with Michael Jordan is pretty true. It's pretty, if you look at any of the lists, when Michael Jordan took over the Wizards, basically took Kwame Brown number one. And then Michael Jordan is, you can't even say he's a tough love guy. He is so much more than that. He is basically like, you either match my competitiveness or I vanquish you, but you're my teammate. Like that's how he works. Like, he would, if you were not strong enough mentally to play with him, he wanted you gone. So he tried that on Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown's an 18-year-old high school kid who, guys get coached differently. Not every guy responds well to getting screamed at in their face.
Who had been through a lot.
Michael Jordan went way further. Michael Jordan would embarrass the shit out of him purposely. Like, would go out of his way to dunk on Kwame Brown, in scrimmages. And then in front of everyone, just like throw the ball away and be like, go get it, pussy. Like, fuck you. You're a little bitch. Like, you'll never be good in this NBA. Like, screaming, cursing at him, being like, fuck you. You suck. Dunk on him, score on him again. Be like, you're trash. You're a bust. Like, and, this is a guy, that was Michael Jordan's way of making Kwame Brown great, Because some guys respond to that. Some guys go, you know what, fuck this. Fuck Jordan. I'm going to fucking... Next time down the court, I'm taking him, I'm bodying him. Kwame Brown did not work out at all. He became afraid of Michael Jordan, I would say. And now, he's speaking out. He's got all of this. But, like, okay, it's too little too late, but I can't really fully blame him because the man was 18 years old and suddenly you have Michael Jordan. You've been watching Michael Jordan your whole life. Like, okay, this is Wizards Michael Jordan. So you literally watched prime Michael Jordan your whole life, be a god amongst men, basically. And now he's in your face and you're like, okay, I get to play with Michael Jordan. That's crazy. That's amazing. And he's not only in your face, he's like, you're a pussy, and everyone knows it. And everyone is just silent watching. Like, there are stories of him just stopping practice, basically, and getting up into his face and being like, pointing and being like, you're a pussy, you're a bitch, you'll never be anything in this NBA. In the league, you'll never be anything. You should quit right now. And like shoving a ball in his face, fucking almost swinging at him. Like, he went off on him. And Kwame Brown never recovered.
It's kind of funny because, like, I'm sure some people are like watching this saying LeBron would never, but LeBron literally like kind of did the same thing. Like, teams up with, goes to the Lakers, Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, Josh Hart, like Brandon Ingram, all super excited to play with their idol, and LeBron's like trying to trade them, saying, where's Dave McMenamin, where's Shams, where's Woj, where's the trade for Anthony Davis? So I'm sure it's not as toxic, but like,
it was, I don't think it was 1/10 as toxic, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Kobe, if anything, had a little toxicity when he was going up against, Jeremy Lin. If you remember, he was like, Kobe had some moments in practices where I think he like really came at guys. But with Michael Jordan and Kwame Brown, I knew this before any of this happened. I've known this for a while. Like, it was relentless. Like, it was day in and day out. he's bullying the man. There's nothing else you can say other than he's bullying and hazing him, basically. And it's like, no one can check Michael Jordan. He's Michael Jordan. So no one was going to stand up there and be like, yo, MJ, chill a little. He's just a kid. No one said that. So basically it became Kwame Brown, felt like he had nobody and he wasn't performing on the court. And moral of the story, I think, is if you were not born for that, if you were not born to be like that, like you did not want Michael Jordan on your team. But you could say the same thing of that. It wasn't built in Kwame Brown's DNA to be tough enough to succeed in the league at that point. Like, because he was 18, he was young, sure. He plays the center position. You gotta bang down there. You have to do that, face that shit all the time. Like, Michael Jordan's talking to you. So is Kevin Garnett. Like people talk. Everyone talks. So if you can't deal with it in practice, like, was it extreme? Was it crazy extreme? Yeah, but maybe it just also was like, a thing where it just never was going to work out with Kwame Brown because he wasn't built for it mentally.
So there's a lot more to the story than just Michael Jordan, by the way. This all started with, I'm sure you guys know of our esteemed competition in the podcast community, the All the Smoke podcast. I'm sure you're aware. So the All the Smoke podcast, which is a podcast that features What? Me? Sarcastic? Never. So the All the Smoke podcast brings on Jeannie Buss. And there's this one point where Jeannie Buss kind of reminisces about the Pau Gasol trade. And she's like, so, we traded Mark Gasol and Kwame Brown. And then Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes interrupt her and say, who? And she's like, Kwame Brown. And she's like, no, just Mark Gasol. And then they hit each other and start laughing. It's very, very mild. Watching it, I could see how that sets someone off. And Kwame starts making this YouTube channel and he just goes off at everybody. He goes off at he goes off at Matt Barnes, and the stuff he says about Matt Barnes is it's insane. He starts roasting Matt Barnes, saying, and I quote, "You are insulting me because of my basketball skills, but I'm going to insult you about your life. And what happened with you and Derek Fisher, and how do you feel about Derek Fisher with your ex-wife and your kids?"
Bro, underrated story.
Very underrated story.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I heard that story and I'm like, okay, I gotta make a video about this because no one made a video on this. And that's in progress. But he starts going off on Matt Barnes about that. Matt Barnes comes back out and says, okay, Kwame, if you want, you could come on our show and we could box. And Kwame Brown clowns him for that. He's starts calling him a fake tough guy, just trying to pander to people. And this explodes into something bigger, because then Kwame Brown comes out and says, my issue with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson is that Steven Jackson, I'm sure we know Steven Jackson's role 1 year ago in, the George Floyd protests. He was trying to uplift black people. And Kwame Brown comes out and calls Steven Jackson a fake because he claims that he's trying to uplift black people. But at the same time, here he is stepping on Kwame Brown. And this turns into something even bigger. He goes after Jamil Hill and Charlemagne the God. And his entire argument is that you guys proclaim that you're trying to uplift our community, but whenever Carmelo Anthony is down, you guys are kicking him down, saying he can't play anymore. And I'm assuming at this point, he's just addressing media in general. Whenever Allen Iverson is down, you wrote him off automatically. And he's had this, he starts going off pretty much on this hour and a half long tangent, calling out most of the prominent figures in media, pretty much proclaiming that they have been disappointing him as a whole. And they have been fake, and they've been pandering to what people want to hear and clickbaiting other individuals.
Yeah, I'm reading some quotes right now, and Steven Jackson with potentially the biggest roast of this. I don't. Your whole career was dirt. Your whole life is dirt, and it ain't my job to pour more dirt on you. Like, oh my god, that is pretty funny. Like, honestly, that to me, that is great. That's crazy because it's like he went out and directly insulted him, calling him his whole life is dirt, but then just goes, but you're also not worth my time to pour more dirt on you. So have a nice life.
Who, Steven Jackson said
yes.
that? Yeah, he came out and he said, like, yeah, you know, you're calling me out for being at strip clubs all the time. Damn straight I was at strip clubs all the time. I'm not proud of it, but I was there all the time. And I'm like, if you're not proud of it, why are you talking about it right now?
Well, he's owning up to it.
I do see Kwame's... I mean, yeah, I guess. I do see Kwame's side. You know, I do understand because I do understand thinking that it's very petty because I haven't heard Kwame Brown's name in like, I don't know, almost a decade. So going out of your way just to take a cheap shot at someone that, okay, we know in comparison to a number one pick, he was a bit of a disappointment, but this guy had a career. You know, he had a 12-year career
major
in the NBA.
All right, let's not underrate how big of a bust he was. He was a huge bust.
I mean, yeah, he was a bust. Okay,
he was a mega bust. He's an all-time bust. He's probably top 10.
Okay, but at the same time, you put him in this. He was able to at least prolong his career. He's not Anthony Bennett status of bust. He wasn't out of the league after a year or two.
That's top
he bounced
3.
Around as a
but directly drafted right after Kwame Brown was Tyson Chandler and Pau Gasol. So,
I don't know, Coop. What do you think about the Kwame Brown situation?
For one, I think it's fire that Kwame was able to somehow grab and control his own narrative. Because now it's like, yeah, he was a bust, blah, 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 but people aren't looking at Kwame as like necessarily like just this bust anymore. Everybody's looking at him like as this hysterical media figure who now put their mom, or not now, but did great things for their mom, did great things for their family. And like everybody has completely just flipped on how they view Kwame Brown. I know people that are like waiting for like his next live at this very moment, which just sounds so ridiculous to say in 2021. And to be honest with you guys, I thought some of the hype would start to die down by now, but it feels like it's only getting bigger. Like his YouTube channel, like he's actually been uploading videos for a minute. I don't know if you guys have went down his YouTube channel, but like he's had this YouTube channel, Kwame Brown Bust Life, for I'm pretty sure over a year, and he's been uploading videos that were getting like 300, 400, maybe a good video grabs like 1,000 views, to now everything this guy touches is getting like 100,000, 200,000 views. And it's gotten to the point I'm like, what does Kwame Brown talk about for 2 hours on IG Live or YouTube? Like, how are people this tuned in? But you know, at the same time, I get it. Every clip I've seen of him has been absolute comedy. But
he's got some great titles. They're pretty funny.
I think
Roy Hobart.
I think they're actually I think they're actually quite intelligent, believe it or not. Yeah, some of them are hysterical, you know. Typically like rants after a while, I'm like, okay, we're over this. He delivers very legitimate points. And he really like it seems like his messages have a purpose. And after watching his content, I come away with something. I'm like, wow, you know, I never saw this from Kwame Brown's perspective. I never saw this from Kwame's perspective. And he kind of like, at the same time, he's still putting up Stack and Matt Barnes, because he says, listen, like, you guys have this gigantic platform and it's your responsibility to like lift us up. And you're putting down someone that hasn't been relevant in what, a decade?
Yeah, so
you're like, it's like,
I'll agree with that. So like, I feel like for sure, like, I guess the point you were trying to make before when you were saying the whole bus thing, like he did still play in the league. Like, yeah, for sure, credit to Kwame Brown for, you know, even if he was a bust, you know, he played a while in the league. Great for him, you know, made his money and everything. I also definitely agree with the point that he's making in general is like, it's kind of more like, you know, on like Twitter culture, or even like, you know, guys like I'll say myself, like even like, you know, to throw like a joke or like about Kwame Brown being a bust or whatever. Like, you hear the NBA, you hear them refer to themselves like as a brotherhood. They'll say that. They'll be like, the NBA like brotherhood like kind of thing. So it definitely, I'm right with him when former NBA players for no reason are just dragging his name when he hasn't done anything other than he didn't perform at the expectations that were set for him when he was 18 years old. So it's like, I agree. Yeah, it's kind of strange. It's like, shut up. If he was doing something, weird, like if he was like in trouble, like off the court or whatever, like, yeah, sure at that point. But yeah, to bring up his name for no reason, to drag him, he's every bit in the right. And it's just, you guys are right too with like, he's played this so well that it's just like he's made it into like a situation that's become very advantageous for himself, which is impressive.
To be on the
honestly, if I'm go for it, Coop.
To be on the other side of things, like I don't want to say they like really like dragged him for like completely no reason. Like they were podcasting, they got in a light little joke, like, it was kind of the move to joke on Kwame for the longest of times. I don't think, honestly, I mean, it was a disrespectful joke, but I don't think it was like the worst joke. I don't think it warranted Kwame coming after Matt Barnes.
It was like this one thing, like this like was the snap moment. I wonder why.
Yeah, for sure. It was like one of those.
Is there more to this though? That's what I wonder. Like, is there more to why this set him off after this many years?
And then
because
because
Greg Oden's here and shit. Anthony Bennett's here and shit.
Bro,
all these guys hear stuff.
Can we send these guys invites to the pod? By the way, like we got to get the next Kwame Brown over here.
To be fair, too, like Matt Barnes really like what did Matt Barnes like just laugh like that was his whole involvement, and Kwame just like came after this guy.
Yeah,
like Matt Barnes really didn't do anything. Like to be fair, like he was just like, yeah, haha, funny joke, bro. And laughed, and then Kwame like starts talking about this guy's wife and affair, and it's like, yo,
have you ever seen those videos? They're on Reddit, and sometimes, or you'll just see it on Twitter, and it's like justice served or something, and like you'll just see that there's like some kid getting picked on, and he gets picked on, and he's getting picked on in this video, and next thing you know, he's just knocking out a bully. Like he's just literally throwing like a haymaker, and it's like, oh my god, this kid came out of nowhere. And it's like, that guy's been getting picked on for like 8 years of his school life, and now boom, he just snaps. Like I just feel like that's what it feels like to me. It's like Kwame just like started seeing red. Like he just was like, this is enough, finally, boom, this is enough. And he came at guys, and oh my god, I mean, it's been entertainment.
I was just gonna say, I wonder how he got word of the podcast. I wonder if like he was watching all the smoke, like that's just the podcast that he tunes into, or he saw a clip.
That'd be so bad.
He's like,
that'd be so bad.
And he's like, you know what? Today is the mother effing day, man. Like,
goes on a little run, like runs up the steps, like, cracks like 2 raw eggs, drinks the raw eggs, like slams it down.
Dude, yeah.
He was smoking a hookah too, like he's like so. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. The one thing I would like to see, I have tons of love for Matt Barnes. I think the way he's handling the situation is how you should handle the situation if you're in media. Steven Jackson, at least my perception of him historically, is he's always just taken a temporary side that benefits him. Like for the time, this is what makes me look good. This is what I'm going to say. So in that instance, I kind of do side with Kwame over Steven because I've seen this happen with Steven Jackson a couple of times. So I don't know. If I'm ESPN, I'm running after this guy because, dude, you guys just lost Kenny Mayne. You got Kendrick Perkins, and he's doing well for you guys. You guys lost Skip Bayless.
You're running after
Kwame
Brown.
Yeah, I'm signing Kwame Brown, bro.
Brown.
As an analyst, are you kidding me?
Bro, he's getting canceled in less than a week.
He seems like a wild card. I will say that. I will say
he seems. He seems, bro. He has Disney written all over him. I don't know what you're talking about.
There's no
Go down
way.
his video, if you actually go down his YouTube channel, he's got some wild titles. This guy will be off the air in a week.
However, Barstool, you never know with Barstool.
Maybe Barstool.
Barstool's got a home for everyone.
But I don't think he wants to work for
Barst-
anybody. He said he likes his little farm and he
Yeah,
doesn't
he's
have to
probably doing
answer
good,
to
dude. He's
anybody.
As long as he manages money somewhat well, how much money do you make? He made definitely, tens of millions.
All right, yeah, but if I'm Matt Barnes though, we gotta fight. Like it's no, like if we could set up a fight, like
Who's taking that? Who's
Matt Barnes?
Kwame Brown. Wait, guess how much money Kwame Brown made in his career?
70 million,
50 million.
80 million.
We'll stick with that 70. It was 60, 63, 64.
That's a successful career.
It's
Yeah.
a great
That's
career,
a-
dude. He made $64 million
that's-
playing basketball. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's a successful career.
Shout
Here's
out
the
Kwame
thing.
Brown.
At the end of the day, here's the thing. And this is something that I really respect Russell Westbrook for. I think there's this one point, and same exact thing. Russell Westbrook got on, and Stephen A. Smith. Russell Westbrook called out Stephen A. Smith for, hey, why are you bringing me down? We're supposed to be lifting each other up. And his girlfriend came out and said when Stephen A., I think he roasted Russell Westbrook about not winning a championship or something like that. His girlfriend came out and said, Russell Westbrook has made a ton of money. He's won an MVP. He's had 3 straight seasons where he's averaged a triple-double. Championship or not, this man's happy. He lives a good life. He is financially stable for the rest of his life. He has a loving family. Life is good. And the one thing I took away from that is if you keep living your life trying to please other people, you're never going to win. Say like LeBron James. He's probably LeBron James is on this quest to probably prove that he's greater than Michael Jordan. And we're not getting into a GOAT debate, but that's probably what's his manifest destiny. He wants to win more
He
championships.
said it, dude.
than him
Honestly,
and
he
put together.
What did he say? He said he was chasing that ghost in Chicago. It was a cool line, honestly. A little chilling.
So at the end of the day, no matter what Kwame would have achieved in his career, no matter what Russell Westbrook achieves in his career, no matter whatever anyone achieves in their career, even LeBron, if LeBron wins 8 championships and becomes the all-time scoring champ, there's going to be that group of people that are still going to say, well, Michael Jordan was better because X, Y, and Z reason.
Yeah, but
okay. At the end of the,
you're being crazy here. I have to say you're being insane. All right. First of all,
I'm just giving it.
no, I'm ridiculous. First of all, Kwame Brown basically had no fans. All right, we're going Russell Westbrook and LeBron have so many fans. All right, that Kwame Brown's scrolling through his timeline and all he's seeing is you fucking bum, you bust. That's all he was seeing. Now of course things have flipped because he's people are loving what he's doing. But I'm saying before that, his whole playing career, everything, really no fans. Russell Westbrook, not the same thing. LeBron, not the same thing. In terms of Stephen A., saying something about Russell Westbrook, I mean, yeah, you could say, I don't want to, drag Russ at all. Love Russ. Just recently been doing great. I've said some things, that were critical about him before, but I will say that at the end of the day, I mean, Stephen A. Smith's job is literally to, if a player has a bad performance, he talks about it, that is what sports media is. That is what keeps the sport more interesting. If we're being honest, if this was all just cookie cutter, second grade soccer league where everyone's above criticism and don't talk bad about anyone, NBA would be way less interesting. So in terms of that, Stephen A. Smith has a job to do, and his job is to make the league more interesting, to get views, to get ratings. And so Russell Westbrook, doesn't play as well as Stephen A. maybe thinks he's capable of, or if he thinks he's hurting his team, he's going to speak out on it. And Russell Westbrook personally, 100%, us ourselves, we get bad YouTube comments. We get comments that are horrible. Oof. And yeah, we get plenty. Oof. And we just have to, look at them and be like, I'm not going to let this stranger bother me. Same kind of thing with Russ. So I think it goes both ways. Russ has every right to just be like, I have a great life, great family. I've been incredibly successful. I've done amazing things. But Stephen A. also, I think, perfectly in the right, to be. I don't think everyone should be lifting everyone up. I think, end of the day, sports media like, especially with current players, is people deserve to be talked about. People deserve to be criticized because that's the job. Kwame Brown is a different story, bringing this all back, because he's been out of the league. It's like, why are you even bringing him up? That's why I think that's different. That's why it's like, why bring Kwame Brown down? It's just, you're just taking a low blow, cheap shot for no reason.
So are you trying to say that we're Kwame Brown's only fans?
I'm trying to say, guys, submit clips to onlylacedupfans@gmail.com. If you're still here while the music is cued, here are 2 videos I think you are definitely going to enjoy. Make sure to click on one of them. Again, I know you're gonna love it. And other than that, have a great day and peace.